This week's episode of Too Late to Sleep is brought to you by salt, found in large amounts in the internet wrestling community this week. Salt. It's good for you. Check it out in the description below. This is Too Late to Sleep. Alright, before we get too far into this week's episode, I do want to say that our thoughts are with DJZ. So far the first and so far the only wrestler to have offered a opening for this show. He's one of my favorites. He's an extremely talented wrestler. He was in a match in Mexico. I don't know what went wrong, but something happened. Apparently, while it's not life-threatening, it's serious, so we're hoping everything comes through and he's able to make a full recovery. On to more lighthearted stuff. This week's Raw had an interesting start. I think that's official. That is the most hated and most heated man in wrestling today. We talked about Roman Reigns and The Undertaker a little bit on Sunday's WrestleMania post-show. I expected him to get some heat. I did not expect that level of it. Holy crap. Mondays and Tuesdays shows, Raw and SmackDown, were great. Obviously, that was the major reaction. We also saw that Brock Lesnar kind of laid down the challenge for Roman Reigns to come get his title, since they're the only two men to have beaten The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Brock wants the match. But Braun Strowman obviously inserted himself, so it's going to be interesting to see if he tries to skip the line. We know that getting a match with Brock Lesnar is not easy because of how few dates he has in his contract. So, are there enough dates to justify a Braun Strowman match in there? It'd be interesting to see how that goes. There were a lot of NXT call-ups this week. I know everybody was talking about on SmackDown when Shinsuke Nakamura came up. But my favorite would have to be, and if you know me, this is not going to be any surprise, it was when this music hit. Yes, I am one of the biggest Revival fans out there. When I started doing this show, I had the Scott Dawson beard. I kind of had to get rid of it so I could get a real job. But I had that look before he got big. I had that look before he ever had it, as far as I know. He stole it from me, and I can't wear it anymore, so I'm a little bitter about it, but he's such a damn good wrestler, as is Dash Wilder, and they're so good together. It's okay. It's okay. We also had Finn Balor return in the main event on Raw. That wasn't that big a surprise, but it was still good to see. He made it without hurting himself, so fingers crossed that can remain the way things go. We also saw Kurt Angle being named the GM of Raw. Be interesting to see how long that lasts. No indication as to how long his contract is for that, but he had some nice, interesting interactions with the superstars. They've written Stephanie out for a little bit as she recovers from going through the table. She was probably backstage on Monday just fine, but in kayfabe, when a non-wrestler goes through a table, they're out for 6 to 8 months. So it's going to be interesting to see just how long she sells this before we get that conflict between Stephanie and Kurt. And when Triple H comes in, it's going to be even more interesting. I would not be surprised if that's where the big SummerSlam story comes out of, is that is finally when Stephanie comes back. Let's see, what did we cover? We covered everything. And that's going to do it for this week. Not a whole lot to talk about just because everything kind of speaks for itself. But if you enjoyed the show, please drop a thumbs up down there. Hit the like, tell your friends. Click on this smiling face to subscribe, or hit one of these videos to find something else that you might like. As always, I love you, Trampions. Cheers.